Everyone, welcome to Shopify's Google Channel webinar. My name is John. I'm on the support team here at Shopify and I'll be your host. Today we're going to walk through how to set up the Google channel on your Shopify store, including connecting the required Google accounts and setting up your store to meet Google's requirements. We will also go over how to create eligible shipping rates on Shopify or directly on your Google Merchant Center. And after that, we'll look at how to prepare your products and make them available on the Google channel to be promoted on Google Shopping Network. Finally, once that is all set up, we'll show you how to begin your own smart shopping campaigns on your Shopify admin. We're going to begin by checking that our Google email account that we want to connect to the Google channel is linked to both our Google Merchant Center and Google Ads account. If you have pre-existing accounts, it's important to make sure that the Google email account you use is set as an admin on both your Google Merchant Center and Google Ads accounts. If your Google email account is not set as an admin, the connection process will fail when you try to connect those accounts on the Google channel later on. Alternatively, if you don't have a Google Merchant Center and Google Ads account already created, you can use the option in the app to create them for the first time. Those will link automatically as admins to the Google email account that you use to connect to the Google channel. So before we install the app, I'm going to go and check my Google Merchant Center account under Tools and Settings, Account Access. Make sure that the email address I want to use is set as an admin, and then go to my Google Ads account and do the same thing. So Tools and Settings, Account Access and Security is called here. Check that the email address there is set as an admin. And if you're not seeing this Tools and Settings option, you might be in what's called Smart Express mode on Google Ads. So you need to change to Expert mode to be able to view all these options. After ensuring you're the admin on your Google Ads and Google Merchant Center accounts, we can begin by going to the Sales Channel plus symbol here and finding and installing the Google channel. So this will open up this window here, and you scroll down and you can see the Google channel here. So click on that plus symbol to start the installation, and you'll see this open up here, and you just have to click this confirmation button here to finalize the installation of the Google channel. So you'll see the channel uninstalled or installed here under this section. There's a quick link to that. If you have a lot of channels installed, there'll be three little dots here. It's an ellipsis. You can expand that out to find the Google channel here. So at this point, you'll be asked to connect your Google email account. For the first time, I'm seeing a reconnection option because I've installed this before. So you just click on this and then you'll be asked to accept certain permissions. This will allow Shopify to manage your ad campaign, product listings, and the domain that's connected. So first of all, you have to select your account and then click on allow. So once you've approved the permissions, you'll end up in the back end of the Google channel. You'll be presented with a basic checklist here of store requirements that Google needs you to complete before you can connect your store fully, and the app automatically highlights anything missing before you proceed. So first of all, at this stage, you might see an account suspension advisory. This is usually caused by attempting to connect a Google Merchant Center account before meeting all of these requirements or failing to meet these requirements correctly. So if that's your case, not to worry, we'll go through all the requirements in this webinar to successfully show you how to sync your store. Once you complete the checklist correctly, you can then contact Google and request a manual review in the case of an account suspension, as they do not automatically review your account when it's suspended and you fix the problems or issues that cause the suspension. So first of all, we see here that add a valid payment provider is already checked, and that's because I have Shopify payments enabled by default when I start up. You have to complete the setup of that to be able to use it fully, but you need to have a method of accepting payments for online orders added to your store, and we can check that out under settings and payment providers here. So you go to settings and then payments, and then you'll enable one or two options here. And that way Google, when they're reviewing your store, they'll be able to see that there is a method available to check out. I'd recommend Shopify Payments as a way to accept credit card payments to get you started if you don't currently have a payment gateway. There are also many alternatives available to you depending on your location, currency, and products. You can find a full list available of those on Shopify.com if you just search for payment gateways. The next item on the list here is remove your online store password. So you do need to have the basic plan to be able to use the Google channel, because you need to have an online store as a basic requirement. And for Google to be able to review your store fully, the password has to be disabled. So if you're not ready to continue past this step, you should pause at this point, finish setting up your store as you require, and are ready to launch it, and then remove the password page. But just in case you're ready to do that now, we're just going to click on this link here, and it's going to take us to online store preferences. And there's an option here to disable password protection, and that's actually down at the bottom of the page. Just click that, press save, and that's disabling your password. And we're able to pop back to the Google channel again, and that should detect that in a few seconds. And there that is. So the next item on the checklist is to confirm that you have a refund policy and terms of service visible on your website. So if you click on this, it'll tell you specifically what Google is hoping to find. That's a refund policy, terms of service policy, and shipping information displayed somewhere that a potential buyer can find them on your online store. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. So if you go to settings and legal, we actually have templates available for most of those. So you'll see, first of all, there's a refund policy, privacy policy, terms of service, and shipping policy. For the refund, privacy, and terms of service, we have basic templates available already. So you can generate them by clicking on Create from Template, here, here, and here. So these are generic templates, so like these mightn't be appropriate for your store. You'd want to edit these, go through these, make sure all the information is correct. They will automatically take in the email address you have set in settings in general for customer facing emails. So if this isn't one that you want to currently use, you might want to edit that. But it's also a good idea to have your emails in these policies, your contact information. So first of all, for refund policy, privacy policy, terms of service, that's all created. But for a shipping policy, we don't have a generator, so you have to add in something there because that's one of the policies that Google also want. So I'm just pasting in a bit of text there. For that, no, that's the contact information to set. So that's just a basic shipping policy to have. So you'll note here as well, when you save your policies, they are linked in the footer of your checkout pages. So they're only available at the checkout at the moment. Google would need to see them before the checkout for this to be eligible and before you confirm that checklist item. So we're just going to save that first of all. And now I'm going to show you how to add these policies that you've just generated to your online store. So after you save these, they might need a few more minutes before they'll be able to show up, but I'm going to just jump ahead and we'll be able to see these. If we go to navigation and go to the footer menu, and we'll just click into this, and I've added in two of those already. Now if you go to add menu, put in refund policy, and then you go to the link here, there's actually a policy link here for each one of these ones that you've created, and you're able to quickly link to that, and that will add that to the footer menu. And I'm just going to add one more for shipping policy because that's one of the three that was requested by Google, and shipping policy, and save that. So when these are added, you still have to press save menu here before you leave the menu area, otherwise it won't save this. So now we'll head back to the checklist and we can confirm that we have added refund policy, terms of service policy, and shipping policy to the checkout and to our footer on our menu, so that can be found anywhere on our store and it's available to our customers. So now we confirmed that, and now we see the next item here is confirm that payment providers are visible on your website. This refers to payment icons specifically, and there's a quick link here to get you to your theme settings, so you can make sure that you are actually displaying payment icons on your store. So I'm going to go to theme settings here, then click on customize, and when that opens up, we're going to go to the footer here, and we can see that the show payment icons is ticked, and that is displaying these at the bottom of the page. So ticking that, unticking that shows that. So if your theme doesn't come with these are all available on the free Shopify 10 free Shopify themes. If your theme doesn't come with payment icons built in by default, you can add them through whatever available methods are there, and that will be sufficient to display that you're displaying payment icons on your store, so you can check that requirement off once you are sure you have those added. If you don't have them added later on, when Google are doing the reviews, they might see that it is missing, and that can result in an account suspension. So we just confirmed that one. And now the last one is confirm that your contact information is visible on your website. So if you click here, you can see that Google have a requirement to have at least two of these contact methods available. So they want you to be able to find a physical business address, phone number, or email address for customers to be able to contact you in the, on your store or for any issues they're having. So when you tick 2 of these, the confirmation button becomes available. But for the moment, we're just going to go back to the store and I'm going to show you where I would usually add them. I would recommend adding all your contact information to the bottom of each of your policy pages, but in general, just to be able to pass this requirement, you can just add it to the footer on your actual theme as well. So if we go to back to customize again, and we go to the footer, and we can add content here, text, talk about business, change it to contact info, I'll throw that in there, save that, and it puts it in there, and you can reorder these if it looks a bit odd by dragging this up, putting it that side. So that's essentially what Google want to see. They want to see 2 forms of contact information. I'm putting in phone number and email here. You can put in your address there, but you should also add that to something like your terms and service, terms and condition, privacy policy, anything like that, just where it would make sense to find um, forms of contact if people are looking at those pages. So we're heading back to the store now, and we'll go back to the Google channel, and we'll be able to complete that confirmation. So we've added these 2 specifically. You pick the 2 you've added. If you put in a third, the other one that you haven't added, that can result in an error. They also have a notification here. The contact forms aren't considered a contact method, so it's not sufficient on its own to add a contact form. And just in case you haven't added a contact form before, I'm just going to show you how to create. So you just go to add page, contact page, contact us. And this would just generate a basic contact form for customers to be able to contact you. You could at this point put it in your contact details there as well, just to have that there, but that wouldn't be sufficient. I would recommend adding it to the footer and to all your terms of service pages, just to be sure you pass that, and then when Google are reviewing your store, that they do definitely find that information. So now we're able to pick the 2, we have picked, click on confirm, and now we've completed the checklist for all the store requirements. And you can see here that they're all green. So once we've completed the checklist, we can move down here and we'll see the free listing is mentioned here for the first time. For our United States merchants, we now support Google's free listings on services across Google. This allows eligible products to be listed for free on Google's shopping tab. From there, those products have the chance to be discovered by shoppers most likely to purchase them without having to pay for clicks. This doesn't replace shopping ads. The introduction of free listings in the Google shopping tab gives small businesses access to a popular online shopping destination when they may not have the resources to effectively run and scale their own Google Ads campaigns. It also gives you a chance when you're already using shopping ads through a paid campaign, a way to supplement your paid advertising with free listings. Your products will still need to be approved for shopping ads to be eligible for free listings and surfaces across Google, and you will see a prompt here to opt in to if surfaces across Google is not activated on your Google Merchant Center. But first of all, we're going to go into this option here to connect our Google Merchant Center account. So first of all here, we will see if we have pre-existing accounts and we're set as an admin on those with this email address. We'll see them available to connect here. And just to remind you, if you can't see your account here, it's because this one isn't set as an admin on that account. So to complete the connection, when you have pre-existing accounts, you just click connect here first of all, and you'll see that we will begin by checking your site claim. So that'll take a minute to finish. I'm just going to show you now, just in case you're not using a .myshopify domain or .myshopify.com bot domain, whatever domain is set as your primary domain has to be set in your Google Merchant Center. So it has to be set under this particular section and it has to be claimed and verified. So I'm going to go back to the Merchant Center account, click on Tools and Settings, go to Business Information and go to Website here. And what you want to see is that your primary domain is set here. So I'm just going to show you what to do in case you haven't set it up, if you're seeing that your domain isn't claimed and verified. So you can click on Save here. You'll also see back in that section if your domain has been verified and claimed on a different Google Merchant Center and you want to transfer it to a new one, there'll be an option there to click a button to transfer the claim. So we can see here this says unverified and unclaimed. So to claim and verify this, you'd have to click on this particular option. I have access to my server, and you want to add a meta tag here, and you can copy this to your clipboard, and you'd add this to your theme file. So once we've copied that, so you might have done this before. If you have ever submitted your sitemap to Google, you'd have a meta tag added in like this, so you wouldn't need to do that again, and you should be able to verify and claim your domain based on that information. So we're going to pop back to the store here, pop back to our themes section. Go to customize. You can go to customize our actions. I'm just going to show you two methods here. Customize and then theme actions, edit code. That's going to open up the code. And then you'll go to your theme.liquid and you would add in the tag here and save that once you've added it in. And then after a while, later on your Google Merchant Center, it should detect that change, and or you'd actually go back here and you'd click on verify URL once you've added that in. Sorry, that's the correct sequence. Then that should change to verified and claimed after an hour or so or more. So just jumping back to the app. At this stage, you can also connect to your Google Ads account. You don't have to connect it in the app. You do have to link a Google Ads account to your Google Merchant Center, otherwise outside of the app if you want to run ad campaigns. And or if you want to use services across Google, you also need to have a connected app. So this is the simplest way to do it. So if you have a pre-existing Google Ads account that's linked to this email, you'll also see that there, and you can connect that now as well. And it'll advise you to add billing information to your Google Ads account because that's required for any Google ad campaigns to be actually run. You have to make sure you have added billing information to your Google Ads account. All charges for the campaigns will go through your Google Ads account. So at this stage, nothing is syncing yet until we pick our target market and shipping settings option for the country that we want to target. At the moment, you can only target one country, and it's limited to selection based on the currency that's set in your store under settings in general. So if you have your target country here for the United States or Ecuador, because they're also using USD, but United States, and then you'll have some language options that are currently available, and that'll expand over time, but English is what we're picking here. So United States and English, we'll save that, and then we're going to go on to shipping settings. So first of all, we're going to select the automatic option, which allows us to use the Shopify um, shipping rates that we've created. So there is a few requirements. If you're using the automatic shipping option, you have to make sure that you're creating a shipping zone for your target market specifically, and that you do not leave any shipping rates without a maximum value on them. And I'm going to go to settings and shipping and delivery here just to show you what's in there by default. So you'll see here, first of all, we have 5 rates in the United States stores by default. So there's 4 weight-based rates, standard and expedited, and 1 standard price-based rate, which is supposed to be for free shipping. Now, to make this eligible to use with Google Channel, to be able to sync this over, we need to change this and up. And anywhere, if we create new rates, anywhere that says and up has to be created, has to be replaced with a maximum value. So this is the range now that would appear, or this rate would appear if a customer adds in over $50 into their cart, up to the value of 10,000 in their cart. So that's how that works. But you'd also need to create a rate if you have products that are lower than $50, just in case customers add lower than $50 to the cart, and you're syncing over products that are below $50 to the Google Merchant Center just to have the complete range covered. So I would create another rate, and I'll just show you that now, how to do that. And we just go to add rate here, set your own rates. We call this a $5 rate for anything under $50. And I just edit that rate, add a condition, price-based 0 to 49.99, and that would cover the range. If you deleted these, if you didn't want a free or complete price-based rates, and you only want to use weight-based rates, you have to make sure that if you are using weight-based rates, you do add weights to your products. Okay, so these would be eligible to use with Google Shopping, and that would be okay for the automatic rate. If you didn't, if you have rates generated by third-party apps, they cannot be synced over. And just to show you something else, if you have custom rates, they can't be synced over either. So in that case, you'd want to generate the rates on your Google Merchant Center instead. So there's tools and settings, shipping here. And if you're setting up rates on your Google Merchant Center, you'll switch to the manual option on the app. And I'm just going to show you how to create those rates here on this instead. So this is a name that only you can see. Let's go back there. 1 second for this step. So just to show you these price-based and weight-based rates, these are the ones that have synced over from my Shopify store because we created them there and we set the automatic option. So we don't have to use those. We can set a different one. Call this free shipping. This is something only we can see at the moment, and this is what will appear in the ads. So let me go to United States. It adds in the currency there. You have to pick the specific currency you want. You have to set it in a handling time and transit time. These are the minimum requirements for these rates. 7 days, something realistic or something reflective of what your shipping rates are. Then you will click on this to add the products to this rate. 2 seconds now. I've left out a tiny bit of info. Oh, I just repeated the name. And we go in here, and this would be for all our products. So this will just help you create a rate. Basically, if you want to use order price, weight, order, or shipping rates by weight, or by number of items or destinations. But otherwise, you can just click on this to make a very simple rate. And if you have more than one rate you want to create, so I'll just go on 0 to 49.99 just to show you how to recreate that. Call that $5. And then another one is created automatically there, 50 or more. And that you'd set that to 0 for a free rate. Now, if you had carrier calculated rates that you wanted to use instead, and you're not using automatic shipping, you want to use manual, and you click on carrier rate here, and you would pick your new carrier rate, pick a service, so FedEx Ground, add that. You can add in, so from shipping from location California, and that would be how you do that, and you continue that, and that would be able to sync to the Google channel, and you'd have eligible rates then. And any of these then that you don't want to use, you could pause them and just leave the one enabled that you do want to use. So that's set up now and compatible with Google Shopping, and we'll pop back to the app for the next step. So one of the main reasons for using manual though at the moment would be for because when you use automatic rates, the highest rate set for the country where you ship your products is the rate that Google Shopping will import and use when you're using automatic. This will make sure that the shipping rates for your products are accurate on Google Shopping, but it can mean that the products appear more expensive. Alternatively, if you use the manual option, you can add in multiple rates into Google Merchant Center where it can store multiple rates and choose the lowest one depending on the customer and present them with that when they're seeing your ad. So just the last thing we'd have to do here, if we had pre-existing accounts, is click on confirm details and say we've added billing information to that, and now we're able to create smart shopping campaigns or create campaigns directly on our Google Ads account if we have billing information added. You have to have approved product first, so until those products are approved, you can't start a campaign. You can set it up first, but it won't actually run unless there are approved products. So we're just going to go back over one other step here just to show you how you can actually create a new Merchant Center account or a new Google Ads account. So we'll just disconnect those ones for the moment. And we'll just create a new Google Merchant Center account. And once you create a new one of those, we'd have to update our site claim on that. But we won't go over that now. But the other thing I wanted to show you is how to connect your Google Ads account when you are creating a new one. Actually, just to show you here, when you create a new account and you already had one connected, or your domain claimed on another one, you can transfer your domain claim by clicking that button, and that'll transfer to the newly created Google Merchant Center account there now. I'll just let that finish. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, the domain is claimed now as well on that Google Merchant Center. So we're going to look at connecting your new Google Ads account instead. So create new, click on I've read and accept these terms. We should take some time and go through those just to make sure you understand what you're accepting. So accept the terms. This will create a new account, and then it'll be asking us to accept an invitation that's going to send to this connected Google account here. So you click on confirm details, and it'll advise you here how long it'll take. And it can take up to 1 business day, but it should be there in the next 5 minutes. So I'm just going to pause this for a second and jump over to that email account. Okay, and we're just going to pop over to the email account that are connected to the store, and we'll see this email. You've received an invitation to access a Google Ads account. You have to click on accept invitation. That's going to log us into our Google Ads account, and there'll be a continue button here that we have to click to finish this off. I'm just going to click on continue now, and that should be that completed. And that Google Ads account will now be connected into our Google channel. So I've connected that, and I'm able to go to confirm details here, or else that will update itself actually. No, we have to click on that. Okay, so that just took around 5 minutes for that to detect that I had clicked on continue and accepted that. So after that, you'd have to go back to your Google Ads account and add in your billing information, and that will be done through tools and settings, and clicking on summary to bring up new billing setup, and you'd fill in that information there. If you don't have that information added, when you try to run a campaign, it'll just stay doing nothing. So it requires billing information to be added to be able to finish off and start a campaign. So one of the other benefits of creating a new account is that Google are giving away a $100 Google Ads credit. So you have to spend over $25 on your actual first campaign during your first 30 days, and you get a $100 free credit to be used against those other campaigns. You won't get a notification that the credit has been added, but it would be available to see under the billing section on your Google Ads account once it has been applied to the particular Google Ads account that's connected at this stage. So the last thing we have to do here is confirm details, otherwise we can't start a marketing campaign. But before we do that, we have to make sure we can get our products approved. 2 seconds now. So once we have a target market set and shipping set again, we can go back to the overview tab, and we'll see that our products that we're pushing or making available to the Google channel are going to be either under pending, or if they've been immediately detected as having mistakes, they might appear under the not approved section. So I just wanted to show you first of all a way to see your Google fields in bulk, because there's a couple of additional bits of information you have to add to product pages or to products that aren't available on the product page itself unless you go into more actions and Google fields, but this is a quick way to see them in bulk. So if you go to manage availability, this can display up to 50 products at a time and shows all the Google shopping fields. So there's custom product, Google product category, age group, gender, condition, several custom labels, and then MPN, which is manufacturing part number, color, material, size type, system, and barcode. So we're going to go over the Google product requirements in a second. So first of all, I'm going to go to an individual product page just to show you what you'd want to do to make sure your products are eligible. So I'm just going to go to products here and click on a particular product. So first thing you have to do is make sure your product is a title and it has to be under 150 characters. So anything over that will not be eligible to use on Google Shopping, and you also have to make sure you're not using all capitals either. That is another thing that's not allowed. So if you can use up to 150, but only the first 70 are used. So if you have any important keywords or anything like that in the title, that should be in the first 70. Anything after that won't be seen in the ads. So you have to make sure you also have a description. This has to be over 60 characters at least, so you can't just have a short one-line description, but you should also add in description of information just for your customers so they know as much about your product as possible. You also have to make sure you have a primary image. We only sync over one image for the Google ads, so the image that you sync over has to be logo, white mark, and obstruction free of the product, so it has to have a clear image of the product. After that, the next requirement, basic requirement, is to have a price. You can't sell products that are listed as a price of 0. They won't be eligible to use. And just on product imagery, if you don't have product imagery but you want to make your own images for your products, we have a product photography course, an e-commerce course on Shopify Compass for anyone interested in taking their own shots, and there's a course available for that, which is very useful. So it's important to note as well, certain things cannot be promoted through Google Shopping Smart Campaigns. So services that are added, made available to Google channel will be flagged and marked as not approved because Google doesn't allow you to advertise or promote services through these Google Shopping ad campaigns or for products only. Now, one of the best ways for Google to recognize your product, if it's a recognized already branded good, if you have a GTIN barcode, which is a global trade identification number for your product. In the case of the United States, that would be the 12-digit UPC code. That's what they'd be expecting there. So they use this barcode field for that. If you don't have a barcode for your product, but it has a brand name and a manufacturing part number, that's the other alternative you can use. So you use this vendor field here for the brand name, and then on the actual Google Shopping fields that I was showing you earlier, that's available through the Google Channel Manage Availability button, or by going to More Actions, Google Fields here, and you will see the MPN is here. So brand and MPN or the barcode is what you'd use for products that have those available. And if you don't have that available, you could mark your product as a custom product. This isn't a requirement, but it just helps Google not have to search for the global trade identification number, the barcode, or the MPN and brand. So it means they're not expecting it. And the other thing you should add for definite, just to help Google categorize your product, is a Google product category. So if they can recognize your product as belonging in this category, it just helps with the accuracy and efficiency of your actual ad campaigns when they're running. I just want to show you a list of the eligible ones here. So you click on this list. It's going to open up a Google support page. There's two options here, Excel sheet or plain text, and you can search this for something that might be appropriate, and then you would grab it like this in this format, or you can put in the number and it should detect it, but I find it's better to get the full text value and add that in. I'm just going to jump back to the page here, and we'd add that in that format. Otherwise, you can add it in through the Google Shopping fields here by going to Manage Availability, or if you were just dealing with a specific subset, such as your not approved items only or everything that's pending, and you wanted to add in additional information to those, you can go to this. This kind of view only shows 25 at a time. You have to select the products and click on Edit Products as well, but the max it can show is 25. So the Manage Availability option is good if you have a lot of products. Otherwise, so now I have several things here that are all using this same Google product category. So I'm just going to show you how you can highlight the first field here, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, use your arrow keys, highlight multiple fields at the same time, and you could add the same Google product category to a lot of things at the same time, but you can also use this for changing the age group all at once. So there's certain products that do need you to add in age group, gender, size, and color, and that's anything that's considered apparel or accessories. So any clothing, any jewelry, any shoes, any bags, things like that, they would all require age group and gender. And if you do not have, they also require size and color. So if you have the size and color built in as variants on your product, you don't have to add those in. But if you don't have them as variants, then you have to add them in by scrolling to the right until you find color and size there and add in the information there. So those products will not be approved eventually because they're missing that required information, and we have information about that in our guides, but just for a recap, it's age, group, gender, size, and color for any items of clothing or jewelry or shoes or bags. And once you make any changes in the bulk editor here, you can click save before you leave, otherwise it won't save the changes. So I'm just jumping to another demonstration story I have here just to show you what it looked like when you have products that are not approved. You can go in here and you can see any warnings or errors that you can correct on your products. So in this case, it shows you specifically what's wrong with the product. So image is missing from this one, title is too long on this one. So you have to go into the product and edit the title. And you have to go into this one and add an image to it for it to be accepted. So after you have set up the Google channel, one of the marketing automations that you can set up in Shopify is called a Google Smart Shopping campaign. When you create a marketing activity or automation in Shopify, you have the option to save it as a draft and publish it when it's ready. So if you didn't have products approved at this point, you could create the marketing automation through here. You can go to automations and then create automation. Sorry, marketing automations and then create automation. You'll see Google Smart Shopping campaign here. And click on that and it'll open up this page. You just give it a simple name like Smart Shopping campaign. So just consider using a name that describes the type of campaign. You don't have to make it anything specific. So after that, you'll add in your daily budget that Google is allowed to use on your behalf to bid on space for promoting your products. Now you might see if this is just in another language. This is a preview of the activity. This is only in another language because I'm using an incognito window, so it always adds accept odd. And I'm only doing that because I have too many permissions and it just acts a bit strange. So when you're considering your campaign budget here, Google can use up to 2 times what you've set as your daily spend on a specific day they deem to be the most effective date to promote your products across their promotional platforms. But the daily spend will average out over the course of 30 days. It will optimize for the highest sales value by automatically choosing which products to advertise, how much to bid, and who to target. The Google channel lets you run an effective Google Smart Shopping campaign without having to be familiar with advanced ad settings because Google Smart technology will handle the hard work for you. So Google will put your product information straight from Shopify, automatically create ads, and show them to the most relevant audiences in the most relevant locations on desktop and mobile, including Google Search, Gmail, YouTube, and Google's display network. As your ads run, Google Smart Technology will analyze the results and use them to optimize your campaign. With no need for you to tweak settings yourself, it removes the guesswork and lets your products and brands be seen in more places to an audience that can relate to those products. Just so you're aware though, there is a minimum 15-day optimization period for Google to test out your ads and choose which of these of which section of their Google display network is the best place to actually promote your products. So if you want to run a campaign for a specific season or something, you'd want to start it as early as possible. So it has started to optimize the campaign and to check into these things for you and test it out. So after that, when you have set your daily budget, you just click on schedule here. And this is just showing that I have one already there. So I'll just go to finish later for a second. I'm just going to go back to the other one. I'd have to pause this, edit automation, pause activity, go back to the new one, edit automation. It's set as a draft because of that. And now I should be able to skip. And then that will be set to pending as it goes through an approval process. So just one other thing I wanted to show you before we finish there is just the free listings is now showing as I've successfully opted in. I just want to show you on the Google Merchant Center where you can see information about free listing campaign successes because it's not available on Shopify at the moment, so you'd have to go to your dashboard here and it's only monitoring the clicks at this time. The features will increase for this over time, but surfaces across Google and clicks, and that'll show successes there. And the other thing I wanted to show you, just under growth, manage programs, you want to make sure that your surfaces across Google and shopping ads are showing as active there, and these wouldn't be active if they are not set up for. And once they're activated, they do show up like this instead. Great. So now that we've installed the Google channel from the sales channel link and have integrated successfully with our ads account, the products are now ready to be featured in stunning ads across the Google Shopping Network. If you're looking to continue your education with us at Shopify, I would recommend completing our Google Ads for e-commerce course on Shopify's Compass. Shopify business owner Daniel Patricio will show you how he targets his ideal customers through Google searches. He'll also show you the steps he takes to optimize his ads to earn as many sales as possible. After learning how Google Ads works, Daniel takes you into the Shopify admin, where he will further discuss the functionality of Google Smart Shopping capabilities built right into Shopify. And just a reminder before we go, if you're still having issues setting up your Google channel, if you'd like more assistance, you can get in contact with Shopify support through the Google channel by clicking on Get Support in the top right of the channel, or I'll show you there. That's there. Or contact Shopify support directly for live assistance by chatter call through our website, support.shopify.com. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.